All right. So yeah, Kinda said, hello, hon. Will keep myself muted, still coughing like crazy. I have water and a cough drop. Okay. Well, automatically what I go into that is if we're releasing a lot with our throat, chances are you're clearing the energy around trusting yourself as well as learning to communicate. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about communicating with the universe, but also learning how to feel into energy and share it as well. Because when we have information that comes through, it's really important that we share it with people. It doesn't mean that you have to learn how to do readings for other people, but it is really important that you're releasing the information that you have, whether that's on paper or maybe it's talking to a tree or something like that. But it's really important that we let the stuff go that's coming through as well. Okay, I feel like sharing that. And some people are hopping on here. So I guess I will introduce myself very briefly for people that don't know me. My name is Robin, and the reason why I created this class is because I feel like psychic development is something that I'm still kind of new to. And every time I teach, I'm learning as well. But psychic work is very different from mediumship, and it's also a little bit different from intuitive work. So I feel like as I've developed a lot in my intuition, I'm now going into calling myself a psychic. And so perhaps you're here as well because you have some type of psychic abilities and you're going deeper into them. So keep in mind, guys, psychic work is not just like dreaming about something. Psychic work is, as I was already sharing, it's feeling into the energy, it's breaking down the energy, and then it's actually applying it. Okay. So there are some different steps that we can get into. And I feel like for some reason, I don't know why Kristen's kind of popping up in my energy, but I feel like she might want to share something or have questions. And so if you want to introduce yourself, anybody that's here, you can just say your name and share what you would like to learn here in this space. And also, again, if you want to share what brought you in. I can tell Kristen wants to share. I know she has.
Hi. Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Wasn't sure with the headphones.
No, you're good.
I'm just pretty excited to find out what you want to share in this class. I don't necessarily have any questions, I don't think.
Okay.
I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, awesome. So just based out of the things that are in the modules, for people that don't know, module 1 is working on card readings, and module 2 is doing crystal healing. Module 3 is Theta Healing. Module 4 is the Akashic Records, and module 5 is Reiki Healing. Okay, and then module 6, if you are coming into my 6-week program, is actually where we get to play. And so it's really just opening up to all of those different things and just discovering what you feel drawn to the mostest. Okay, Tammy's hopping on, say hello. We're just using the chat as well to introduce ourselves if you feel comfortable with that. But Kristen, if you're there, do you want to share out of those modules if there's anything that you feel most drawn to?
Out of those modules, sorry about my daughter crying
in the
background. I'm really interested in the Akashic Records.
Yep.
When you did my reading, was probably like a year ago now, but that really stuck with me, and I really had a lot that I was able to take from that.
Good.
So that's something that I'm pretty interested in.
That makes it perfect. Thank you for sharing, because that's interesting, because I was thinking about you the last 2 or 3 days, and then here you are popping up into the energy all of a sudden, right? And what I was specifically thinking about was the time that I did your little reading online. So for some reason that feels important to share about how we line up with specific people when we're meant to. So if for some reason you're here and you want to start helping other people, or you're already helping people, my suggestion would be to just start trusting that you are absolutely going to tune into the people that you're meant to tune into. And a lot of times, as an empath as well, we're picking up on other people's emotions, whether we realize it or not. And that's a little bit of about psychic development, is understanding whose energy you're picking up. And we don't always have to know the why, but it's really important to know that we're tuning into someone else, and that's not necessarily always ours. Okay. So chances are, if you're here, you're an empath. Can is there anybody here who doesn't resonate with being an empath or wants to know what an empath is? Again, can use the chat. Okay, so everybody is an empath. I'm taking that. Okay, so I'm just taking some notes, a little bit of where everybody is. So far, Kristen's the only person that really shared. She's looking to go deeper into the Akashic Records. And then also, obviously, she's an empath, right? So Jenna's saying she's an empath as well. Okay, awesome. So Jenna, would you be open to, you can show your face or not, it's completely up to you. And hold on here. Okay. Yeah, Jenna, yeah. Do you want to just share something about yourself, what brought you here? And
For sure.
Okay, cool.
Just like leaving work, so that's why I was muted and on my way out.
It's all good, don't worry.
Yeah, I've been, I guess, more on this the last years. So always dealing with a lot of energy of people, and I'm an empath, so I absorb it and take it all, and I take it in. And I'm trying to work on releasing all this, but I'm actually just want to, I guess, trust myself, and I'm just basically trying to learn as much as I can about, I guess, trusting myself, make that things happen for me. Yes, want to learn more about it, I guess.
All right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You were cutting out a little bit, but I feel like I got the gist of what you were saying, because I'm picking up on the energy. For some reason, what's coming up is to remind ourselves, and thank you for sharing, that nonverbal communication is 80% of communication, right? Especially where we're working on trusting and reading things. So even though I couldn't hear you, I could totally understand you. Right. And and that was kind of coming up when Kinda was speaking in the chat too about the throat chakra. So it feels like everybody that's here is really working on that and feeling comfortable to at least speak. Because when you're feeling things and in your heart, it's really important to get it off your chest, as you were sharing, Jenna. So it sounds like emotionally you're working on finding healthy ways to at least like let go of the stuff that you're experiencing, whether you decide to do readings for other people or not. You need to like get it out of you, correct? Yeah, and she's driving. So thank you so much for sharing. So I'm taking note of that. Just I wrote down for you energy, grounding, releasing, emotional, trust, and reason. You said everything happens for a reason. So it's starting to trickle already, how Kristen was sharing some stuff, and I was seeing that how we were feeling into each other's energy at the exact same time. Right. I didn't know she was thinking of me, but I was thinking of her and she was thinking of me, and just all that stuff with vibration. And also, again, just reminding ourselves that even if somebody's not saying something, we can still feel in our hearts what they're going through. Right. So I can't help but feel like it's a big challenge for people that are intuitives, empaths, and we're going to call them psychic as well. So just reminding ourselves to be really gentle. And so maybe you're here because you might need a little bit of extra love around that. Okay. And so, yes, I'm opening up to doing a program to help you with this, but at the same time, I just appreciate people coming into the space and being so open and vulnerable because I love the fact that we get to have such beautiful people together. Okay. And just trusting that there are other people like you and that you don't need to isolate and you're not by yourself. Right. So, we start to develop some support groups and some support systems for ourselves as well. So that just feels important to share because, yeah, it can be very isolating a lot when you feel like you have all these gifts or the opposite of a gift, it could be a curse for you. And it's like, what do I do with this? I'm emotional all the time. People say I'm bipolar or whatever it is, right? Like, or you're so up and down, just stuff like that. So just reminding yourselves that as an empath, it is so important, not just that we take care of ourselves, but we start to understand what all this means. And that was the whole point of coming on here, is to help people develop the skill and not see it as something that you have to like live with. That's like a disease or that there's something wrong with you. I don't know why. There must be somebody in here that needed to hear that one. So Paulette is saying, I was told I was an empath while having a reading done about 6 years ago. Did not understand at the time, but I guess that's what got me into researching, etc., and on my spiritual path. Okay. So I think Paulette's just hopping on. There are two Paulettes. So whatever, yep, whatever Paulette wrote that, yeah.
It's me, it's Paulette LeBlanc.
Okay, perfect. So do you want to just share anything anything?
Well, right now I'm just absorbing it all. I guess along the way, it's nice to be around people, just like you were saying. I resonate a lot with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
People that have in common and you resonate with, you don't feel so alone.
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
So if you were to focus on something, because tonight I wanted to talk about aside from like what you guys want to focus on, just like the basic modules I've already created, which is card readings, crystal healing or crystal readings, depending on who you are, Theta Healing, Akashic Records, and Reiki. Is there anything that you specifically feel like you'd like to, that you're more drawn towards, because we only have a certain amount of time to talk about it?
For me, I guess it would be Akashic Records.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that one is sticking out.
Okay. Good.
I guess I'm all over the place. If I'm to share anything, I have a little. I guess I've been, like I said, I've been researching and doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And I just have a little bit of everything, I guess. Like I do tarot, but just for myself and my family and that. But the Akashic record, I don't know. It always stood out to me.
Yep.
A little bit.
Yep.
I guess I haven't researched it enough, so it'd be nice to hear a little bit about it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so far I'm getting that there are a couple people that are really emotional. And like that makes a lot of sense, because whenever we're working on intuition, it feels like we're letting go of a lot of stuff. So just remind yourselves that the biggest thing that we can do with our emotions is, I just keep sharing the same message, just to keep releasing it. Find ways to release it. I'm teaching you guys really basic tools, different strategies, different healing modalities in a very short period of time, because this is just like a little free thing I'm doing. But it is really important to really trust what you're drawn towards. So we have a couple people also saying Akashic Records. So I'm going to trust that that's where we need to start, right? But a big thing as we develop our gifts, pay close attention to when the same things are showing up over and over and over again, right? It's like, why do I keep meeting people with the same problems? Why do I keep feeling this exact same feeling? Okay, so just keep trusting that those things, you're being shown something, all right? So symbolism is really important as well. So aside from when you're seeing numbers, yeah, just keep paying attention. And I would highly recommend along your journey to keep a notebook. It could be like a dream, it could be a thought, anything that comes up for you, don't dismiss it and just keep writing it down, because what you're going to find over time is that that makes a lot more sense than what you realized. And I feel like you might regret not having written it down. Okay. And so that was a big part of my journey. It was just like, oh my God, I just have this like all this stuff coming in and I need to freaking get rid of it. So if you feel like you need to write pages and pages and pages, do that. If you just feel like it's just like little tiny things, do that as well. And I feel like there might be a Nora in here somewhere. Nora, do you want to share anything about that? I know you're in there. Definitely Akashic Records and Theta Healing can assist. Okay. Nora. I was thinking of Theta Healing for you too, Kenda, because we've practiced that before together. Okay. So if Nora's not hopping in, that's okay. Okay.
There. Hello. Sorry, I
Hello.
you got me. I did something on my screen and then I couldn't get to the microphone and I'm like, oh wow, okay. Hi.
Don't you worry your heart about it.
I'm trying to be positive right now, girl, but I've had the crappiest last couple days and I feel like I want to start vaping again. I feel like I'm losing my mind and I wish everybody's anxiety would just screw off.
Okay. Okay. So that makes okay. I just want to share just for like everybody in general that makes a lot of sense, because as we were just talking about tools, it's so great to have tools to release stuff, because otherwise we're going to go to all the negative stuff just to feel better, right? Like I don't know if you've noticed, but most like, and I don't like to stereotype, but a lot of people that do this type of work, like they also have a lot of issues because they're
Amen, girlfriend.
yeah, because they're dealing with everybody else's issues. So what I mean is like we tend to like go to the bad foods, like the comfort foods, right, to feel better emotionally and this and that. So just I would say, as we're talking about being gentle on yourself, like just the best thing you can do is just to not judge yourself while you're going through your journey. And that's where the cards feel like they're going to, Nora, that's where like cards are good for you specifically, because then you have solutions to problems, right? Like what should I specifically just be like, what should I do about vaping? Should I vape? Should I not vape? Or when we go into Theta Healing, we can use our body as a pendulum and say, should I vape or not vape? You get a yes, or you lean back for no. It doesn't have to be so complicated. That's what I'm sharing. Okay. Nora, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just I just wish it wasn't so intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I wasn't the one that had all the issues all the time.
So that's where it's just like step by step. Okay. So you're here to develop tools. You're like literally just starting, right? Some people are further ahead than others. So again, just be patient on your journey of like starting somewhere, right? So because if you want to have compassion for other people, you have to start with yourself, right?
Well, I seem to usually have more compassion for everybody else but myself.
Okay. So self-love, self-care. Yeah. So and that's where like that comes up in Reiki healing, is when we start our Reiki healing journey, we always start with ourselves. And then as we start to feel like we understand ourselves better, that's when we start helping other people. So we never want to jump into helping others before our cup is full, right? So the key thing is when we're working with energy is to just start charging our energy. So if you feel like vaping is charging your energy, then do it. If you feel like vaping isn't charging your energy, then don't do it. And I would say simplify as much as you can. Okay. So because we're not here necessarily to work on our health. We're here to work on our gifts. And there's a big difference. The only thing is, being an intuitive, we absolutely, in order to really be like super clear, we do have to take care of our health, because if we don't, we're not going to get the messages as clearly, and we're going to get more confused. And it's just, and we don't want to live in confusion, right? So that's where just keep developing the tools. That's what I'm going to suggest. Okay. Hope that makes sense to everybody. I know this is
Thank
really,
you.
yeah, this is really basic stuff, but I do feel like a lot of people are working on health right now, and like finances are related to health. Our, like, of course, our physical weight, like there's so many things, right? Substances. But again, we're not here to like nitpick. We're just here to chat about like tools and ways to start doing X, Y, and Z, right? Okay. So first thing I want to do is, since Akashic Records are coming in so strongly, just for people that don't know what the Akashic Records are, it's it can be a little complicated, so that's something you can do more research on. But it's essentially, we go into this space where we're able to tap into ourselves, and we can choose what we want to focus on. So if we chose Nora, just say, if we were going into her Akashic Records, we would specify, okay, I'm going into Nora's records, and I'm going into why she's vaping. Okay, so it's kind of cool because we can get really specific and get a lot of answers. And I feel like that's what everybody is in here for, is to start finding the answers and working through solutions. Okay, but instead of picking someone to work on, we're going to work on ourselves, because that seems like the easiest thing to do. So, key thing is, when we go into Akashic Records, it is important to be grounded. All right. So often what it means to be grounded is, that's where, like, if vaping makes you grounded, then maybe vape until you find other tools to be grounded. Everybody's a little bit different. Ideally, we want to get to the point where we have healthier tools, but until then, we just need to be grounded, period. So like, I'm grabbing a couple crystals for myself. And for people that don't work with crystals or don't know anything about crystals, basically they all have different healing properties. They're not expensive. If you have a couple rocks instead of a healing crystal, that works too, because they come from the earth. So anything, literally a plant, would even be a great thing to bring into your space, because they can help you breathe, right? So anything natural is really helpful. And the more of that, again, we have, being outside will help us as well. Okay. So for me, I'm grabbing a clear quartz crystal, and I'm grabbing a green quartz crystal, and I'm holding on to both of them in both hands, and I'm putting my palms up. So essentially, when we put our palms up, we're coming into a receptive state. When we learn Reiki training, we learn a bit more about how to open our energy up, to not cross our arms or cross our legs when we're coming into a space of openness. So clear quartz, specifically, just for people that want to learn, is really great for going into a meditative state. If you're working on letting go of your thinking, which pretty much everybody is here, we overthink when we're feeling overly emotional. So just grabbing that is really great to just like focus on the element of the good vibration that's in your hand. And we're paying attention to the earth below us. The green quartz, green can be relative to the heart. And when we're focusing on the heart, we're getting out of the head. Okay. We're coming into a space of love. We're coming into a space of forgiveness. So again, all of those things that you're carrying around with yourself, you're just kind of offering a little bit of healing towards yourself to be able to come into a space where you can receive. So we're going to do that. And if breathing is not something that you do well, that's okay. I actually have a candle lit for myself. I have 2 candles lit. I really connect to the element of fire when I'm doing any type of spiritual work. So I find that that's very relaxing for me, and that kind of helps me calm my energy down. Okay. The other thing that we can do is when we want to work on calming our energy down, we can go into Reiki healing. And some people might have Reiki training here, other people might not. And whether you have Reiki healing training or not, you can set the intention to have universal life force energy come down through your crown. Through intention, you can visualize white light coming down through your crown as you continue to ground. And you start to see a line going down your spine, so which means you might want to find that in your body too. Find some comfort there. But as you visualize this white light coming down, you're also your intention is to open up the third eye, which is like the best thing that you can do when you're doing this work, is to reconnect yourself not just to the earth, but to the top of your head, and work a little bit more with source, universal life force energy, which is essentially where we receive our messages from. And as we channel that energy down through, that's where the throat chakra is coming up as well. We're also going to open up the throat. And a lot of times when we're carrying tension in our shoulders and our body, again, working on the heart, we actually have to physically open up those palms and say, hey, like, let's open up here. Maybe dropping your shoulders. And as you travel your energy down into the heart space, often the hands will start to vibrate a little bit as we amplify calling in that energy, which will allow us to start sending healing energy towards ourselves, towards different chakras of our body. Okay. So you might even feel some warmth. It's okay if you don't. But you're offering a little bit of love to yourself, because chances are if you had a bad day, if you've had a really stressful day, again, even if you're driving, that's okay. You can even visualize all of this healing light going in through your entire body. And it should feel more warmth, more of a loving energy. And the reason why we bring crystals into our space, just so you know, because I feel like I need to add a couple more, is because they're often cooling. And when we're doing a lot of energy work, crystals can be really comforting as we're releasing a lot of energy and stuff that's going on. And as we let that energy travel in through the chest, we have our solar plexus, which is just below the chest. And when we're feeling really tight and stressed, this energy gets trapped. So again, as I was saying, not only opening up your palms, but as you do find some breath, as you do start to relax and you become more conscious and aware of that, you'll notice that you just feel essentially what I'm getting is we just start to feel lighter. You'll know what it starts to feel like as you do find your breath. And it's okay if you need to practice this over and over and over. That's where I'm just giving like mini details of ways to do this. And as we go into this sacral, that's literally where we carry all of our emotions. That's what we were talking about when people tend to carry more weight in their stomach because they're taking on a lot of other people's emotions as an empath, or they might go to those things that are comforting for them. And that's also our womb space. It's our sexuality. It's where we birth children. It's also like it's how we want to nurture ourselves. We like to feed ourselves with love. So if you have some digestive issues, just reminding yourself that, again, doing some of these Reiki healing energy practices can really kind of help you find more relaxation in the tummy, so that we can break down the things that are happening in our life. So great tools that are very supportive. And then we go down to the root chakra, which is basically our base. That's our waistline down to our feet. And this is where money might start to come up, or where we're carrying our worries, or when we're stressing about eating too much or not enough. And you know, what's going to happen the next day and all of that stuff. All the worries tend to get carried along that baseline. And that's why, as I was sharing, the crystals are really great to help support you. Any type of earth element that has healing properties, like herbs, there's so many different things. And that's why we love nature so much. But another thing we can do is just pay more attention to, just paying more attention to our feet, honestly. So just sending more energy down towards the feet. If it's rubbing your legs, I like to put my hands on my knees where we carry the majority of our fears, and then just draw all the energy down the legs. So again, a little bit of a physical connection with the crystals even too can be really helpful. I'm sure some of you know a lot of this stuff, but these are just reminders for everyone. So as we call in that energy and we offer that calmingness, as we go into our Akashic records, which is essentially, again, past, present, future of our lives, this like inner knowing or connection work that we're doing. When we go into that space, we can ask questions and we can trust that we're getting exactly what we need at that time. And it's wonderful, and I love it. So we say a few things in order to come into this space. So we say, often we'll do with this when our palms are up and we're all relaxed, and we say, with this I relax my body. And then you'll take a deep breath in. And depending on my crowd, I might say, and with this breath, and then I just find my breath, but I feel safe here because the sound can really move some stress out of your body. It also helps us get out of our ego a little bit when it's not comfortable to do something and we do it. It can be very helpful too, getting out of our comfort zone. So with this I relax my mind. So you're just stating this. And with this I access the light and all knowledge and wisdom in this space. Taking a deep breath in. And again, just drawing all that energy up into the earth. This is kind of where like my yoga stuff starts to come up, but just drawing all the energy up from the earth. And this is where some of the kind of like cleansing comes up as well, by initiating drawing energy up from the earth and finding your breath. It becomes more of a whole body experience. So don't forget, guys, sound is the most powerful thing that you can do. Speaking, communicating, releasing, vibrating. It's amazing. Such a good tool. We're not meant to keep this stuff inside. And with this, I let go of my ego and all judgment in this space. Breathing in again. And you might even feel a little like buzzing. And with this, I go into the Akashic Records 4, and then you state your name, Robin Marie Horseman. And then again, taking a really deep breath in. And we might have to practice that. And as we enter this space, as we are in that calming Reiki energy, as we are working with some crystals, walk into this space. And as you enter this space, notice if there's a change. If you have a notebook or you want to write in the chat, you can share. What do you feel in this space? Because when we enter this space, this is where I was saying we can ask questions. But we can also pull cards, which I felt like that was important to do to get specifics. We can also do things like EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, where we can create vibration and verbalize things to move energy. And these are things when I teach more about each module, I'll go into. But tonight I really wanted to focus on card readings and theta healing in the space, okay? So as you guys are all in your records, what's going to come up is, and I just keep feeling like my knees and pulling down, I'm regrounding myself in the space because you might feel like there's a lot of stuff going on for certain people. Feel free to identify with a question or a fear. A question or a fear. So if you're drawn towards theta healing, put a fear in the chat, or you can ask a question if you want. But if you are drawn towards the cards, ask a question, okay? And if you have your own cards or you have just playing cards, those will work too, because we're working with numerology as well when you have playing cards. So if you see like the number 8, you can connect to that. You can also Google what the number 8 means, okay? And the other thing that you can do when you have a regular card deck, you can create your own symbolism. So if a heart represents love, go with that. If a club represents emotions, go with that. Okay, because I think it was Paulette, I believe, that said she plays with tarot a little bit. And that's kind of how tarot works, as we create symbolism for like cups and pentacles and things like that. Okay, so I'm not going to confuse you again. That's where, if we're going deeper together, I'll go into like specifics, but tonight I'm just showing you a little bit of strategy, how to understand. Okay, so does anybody have a question? So I'm in my records, but I'm also tuning into you guys as well. And I have communication is key. Okay, so just by being in the records, and I just pulled up a card, I actually didn't even ask a question, but I know that I've been talking a lot, as you guys know, about communication. And here's our communication card. It says communication is key, new mood in Gemini. Okay, so I'm gonna get you guys, if you can, anybody that wants to hop in, you can share your face, not show your face, you can write in the chat, it doesn't matter. But can you guys share, now that you're in your records, if you connect to this card in any way? Based on everything we've been sharing, what are you taking from this? How can you move forward? How does this relate to you presently? How does this relate to your past? As an empath, as you transition in your own development? I just pull same card on my side. Joanne said she pulled the same card. So Joanne, do you mind hopping on and just sharing? Because the fact that you, as I was saying, how things come up in twos or how we're lining up with each other, do you see the connection? And that's what essentially what we're working on, is like, again, when we're seeing something repetitively, it's like, okay, this is something that I need to maybe look at or pay attention to, right? So Joanne, do you wanna hop on and just share? Do you have a connection? Need to communicate more for sure in the right way, Nora says. Okay, so what we'll do is, Nora, we can do a little theta healing around you saying the right way. And for me, guys, the way that I know that there's a vibration that feels off in the wording with Nora is like when I'm feeling into need to communicate more for sure in the right way. I don't know if you guys can notice it, and there's no judgment here, but her saying in the right way is saying that she's saying that she's doing things in the wrong way. And then that doesn't feel positive to me. Okay, so that's what we want to do, is just feel into the frequency as well. So again, when we're in the Akashic Records, I find it's easier to trust ourselves, which is what we're all working on. All right, so trust anything that happens for you as soon as you enter into the records. Anything that you're feeling or sensing is exactly what you need right now. So if you don't want to communicate, Joanne, just maybe say no, so I'm not waiting on you. Working on trusting. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. So so again, when we go into Joanne saying working on trusting, very similar to Nora's, right? I'm not doing something right. I'm not communicating properly. Or Joanne saying, I'm working on trusting, but it's saying that she's not there yet. Trusting myself. Okay, so by her choosing the words in this space, and this is why if you choose to journal when you go into the records, that can be really helpful to get more insight and information too. Because trusting herself is just saying, like she might be working on, so this is where like the more training you have it in Reiki, it'll make more sense that that's related to the throat. But also trusting yourself is like having confidence in yourself. So confidence is also in the solar plexus. Okay. So just the more we can kind of like work on the learning about the chakras, that will help us identify when people are sharing information about like what they're where they're carrying energy a little. It just kind of like helps us develop like what's going on, okay, including for yourself too, depending on if you want to learn to help other people or not. Nora says 3 of Cups and Knight of Wands fell out. Okay. So Nora, what do you think the 3 of Cups means? And anybody else that wants to share what they think that the 3 of Cups means. So what does the number 3 mean to anybody? Do you want to share? Hopefully you guys want to share and develop.
Isn't 3 of Cups emotional fulfillment?
3 of Cups?
Yeah.
If you're saying emotional fulfillment, then that's what it means.
Right.
Yeah. So
my cards. Yeah.
Yeah, so trust that, because the whole point is like when we're using cards as a tool, but when we also go into the Akashic Records, what you're saying is your truth. It's what you feel, right? So it's also exactly what other people need to hear too in the space when you share it. Emotional fulfillment. So thank you. So Nora, is that what you're working on right now?
Emotional fulfillment?
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
That's what you're maybe here developing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Do you see how?
Yeah.
My card was actually emotional withdrawal,
Mm-hmm.
number 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, like
Did
the opposite.
did you say number 8?
Yeah, it was number 8, emotional withdrawal. That's my card that
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of 3 of Cups.
Okay. Interesting. So, but
So that's kind of where I feel like I am.
yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to get to the emotional fulfillment part, and I'm wanting to be like, yes, I am.
Right. And Paulette, probably, do you relate to that too?
Yeah, for sure, I do. I feel like I've been here. It's more like a past card for me, the one that I drew out.
Mhm.
But I'm getting to more of the 3 of Cups energy, I guess, right now.
Yes.
So, yeah, building myself. But sometimes we do need to withdraw, right, emotionally to heal whatever it is that needs to be healed. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm. And it's also not judging ourselves for doing that.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you find even talking about that helpful?
Oh, definitely. And then it comes back to communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just talking about it, and for sure.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
all interlaced with one another.
Mm-hmm. Because as an empath, when you're feeling so much, absolutely, you need to like recollect your thoughts for sure.
Yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
8 is like you mentioned 8 earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was funny that it came up. Um, yeah, it's like unconditional love, right? Like for me anyways, number 8 is like the infinity sign. Like it just goes round and round. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I connect to that too. Like you're feeling into my energy because today I was drawing the infinity sign like over and over. And to me, the infinity sign is really about like life going on past this life, like forever and ever and ever. And the importance of the lessons that we learn here in this life so that we don't have to kind of like redo the crappy stuff later.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And when we go into the Akashic records, we can also we can do past life, but we can also do future life, which is really cool too, because we can actually go into your energy or somebody else's energy to find out what their future life is going to be like after this one, if you believe in that, which is kind of cool.
Pretty cool.
It is very cool. So we can go into future life in terms of like, what do you need to know for this life over the next few months? But then we can find out, okay, what are some of the lessons that you're in a way like that you're going to be learning for the following one. So yeah, we can go pretty deep in this stuff. So we're just touching the surface on what the cards are bringing up for all of us to know. So thank you so much for sharing, because it's so amazing to hear like you sharing and then that connecting to Nora and then Nora connecting to you and then you connecting to me. And then I'm sure that I'm speaking to someone specifically, but they might not be sharing what they're feeling too. So yeah, Nora's saying that's really cool. It really is. And then Paulette says, thought you were speaking to me, didn't realize there were 2 Paulettes in this class. LOL. That's funny. So she also mentioned the Knight of Wands. Can anybody guess what the Knight means or what the Wands mean or what they feel into, even without seeing the card, what they feel into the card? Trusting that whatever you say is exactly right.
The Knight for me is like a young energy, and Wands is a fire energy, so passionate. So that's what I get out of it. A passionate young energy, like passion. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. And do you relate to that, Paulette?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Not, I can't think of anything right now, but it might after. You never know with the conversations.
But are you a passionate person
Oh,
like that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm like a child, a joker. I'm the one that makes people laugh.
Right. And also like when you're in your records too. So when we go into our own records and we're sharing stuff really about ourselves, but it's still going to help other people by expressing it. Right? Oh, somebody has a card. I can't see it. Oh, it's Nora. Yeah, no, sorry, Nora, we can't see it, but we can feel it more when we can see it. Oh, somebody's hopping on here too. Okay, so Nora, do you relate to that card?
I do by times. I'm trying to, can you flip the camera around on this thing? Oh, there it is.
I don't know. I'm not techie.
There we go. That's better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the girl anyway, but then there's a horse in the background.
Yeah.
I do by times. I feel very passionate about quite a few things, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially matters that really touch your heart. I can get pretty fiery about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what else you would like to know. I'm kind of drawing a blank here.
That's all you're meant to say. That's the whole,
Oh,
that's kind of what I'm teaching here, is to trust that what you're meant to say or feel or hear is exactly what you're going to get. That's the whole point of going into the records, is that you're going to get exactly what you need. But the key thing is again, share it. If you just feel this stuff and you're not releasing it, then like, in a way, what's the point? You can reflect on it all you want to, but yeah, the more you express it, the more other people are going to gain from it. So I know we're here to work on ourselves, but just keep in mind that you can only go so far working on yourself, and there gets to be a point where you have to share, right? Otherwise, all that stuff is just going to build up and it's going to make you feel worse and worse. Yeah, so outlets, super important. So the next thing we're going to step into is Theta Healing. And so Theta Healing is really where we get to work on fears and our limiting beliefs. And so Theta Healing, again, that's a pretty deep tool. It's not something you learn in 2 minutes, but I'm just touching on the topic. So a big thing that we do when we want to release something that's not serving us is we ask higher power, higher source to release that for us. And the way that you do that is, if, for instance, we're going to use the things that were already coming up. For instance, Joanne is saying she's working on trusting and trusting herself, which I'd say every single person here is probably working on. So, so we would, if that were ourselves, right? So if because we're working on ourselves, we would ask, you can use the word creator, or you can use source, or you can use universe. It's completely up to you. So for now, because we don't know people's beliefs around this, we're going to say universe. We're creating dialogue with the universe. Universe, please release my belief that blank. Okay, whatever it is. Please release my belief that I'm not good enough. Please release my belief that I'm not trustworthy. Because it feels like, obviously, when we're saying this statement, there's more underneath it. So what is your belief around? Please release this. Okay. And once you've filled in that blank for yourself, because you're in your own records, you're going to know what you need to release. Please release this. Please. We have to be polite. Thank you. So we're saying please. Putting in our order. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. And really take a deep breath there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick something that we want to bring in moving forward for yourself. So if we can kind of like sum up from stuff that we've talked about tonight, or things that you didn't get to talk about that you wanted to, or maybe you have a fear of speaking your truth. Maybe you have a fear of speaking in public. Maybe you have a fear of like entering this space. Maybe it's related to money. There's so many different things. Maybe you just judge. Maybe you're just judgy. It's okay. You're working on it. So you can keep releasing more if you want, if there's more in there. But we're going to bring in new energy, okay? So we're going to say another statement. Universe, it is commanded that I vibrate the energy of blank. Universe, I command that I vibrate the energy of health, intuition, trust. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. And as you find your breath, and as you allow that energy to come in, you ask to integrate that energy. So you say, universe, it is commanded that I integrate this energy. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. And as you do that, really checking in with what we did at the very beginning. Remember, we went through all the channels. We grounded ourselves. Just inviting that energy in to just kind of like go through the channels again. As you open up and agree that you want these things. And notice anything additional. Maybe there's another card that you want to pull out. Maybe you need to reconnect with your crystals. I'm just inviting anything additional in that you feel like is important. This is where we went into the Reiki energy. We went into our Akashic Records. We gathered some information. We offered some healing. We did some manifesting. This is where sometimes we'll notice some extra things are coming up or we need additional healing. I will be having spinal cord surgery in my neck very soon. This procedure is going to be from the throat. Very interesting. So just as a little side note, guys, for people that don't know anything about the throat chakra, it's about doubting ourselves, trusting ourselves. It has this like water element to it. That's why when we drink water or we're coughing, it's really helpful to release what's going on. I literally have throat chakra blocks all the time that I have to work through. And so again, that's where like Theta Healing can be helpful, crystals, all the tools that I'm talking about, okay? And actually one of the books that I pulled out is my Louise Hay Heal Your Body book. Because it has like the affirmations that you can say in relation to the things that are coming up. So like I have for some reason hips and hip problem. That's what's popping up. Fear of going forward in major decisions, nothing to move forward to. And then the positive thing that we can say is I am in perfect balance. I move forward in life with ease and with joy at every age. Okay. So, again, just whatever tools pop up for you when you're in this space is helpful. But again, doing some chakra balancing, tuning into the energy of where stuff is located will be supportive. The numerology is great. These all feel like really important things that were coming up for people. So the fear of the realistic outcome, and of course, risks are overwhelming. The energy is hard to release. Absolutely. So that's where, Mikhail, if you were going deeper into the program, we would definitely teach you kind of what we're doing tonight, but go way deeper with it and really get into how to, release the fear for sure, but really identify with like all the layers and where it comes from. Okay, so you can start doing that on your own time. And thank you for sharing. My hip has been bothering me too, Tammy said. Okay, interesting. This has been very interesting and insightful. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock on the dot. I said I wasn't going a minute over. And what I wanted to do, I have a big question, Carla says, sure. What I wanted to do is if there were any additional questions, you can book in a call with me and we can discuss things further in relation to how you, like any questions that you have in relation to the 6-week program that I have coming up. That starts on October 11th. It ends November 15th. It's going to be every Tuesday night from 7 o'clock until 8 p.m. Everything will be recorded. So as soon as we get off our call, you get emailed the replay. So if you missed it or you had to leave or something or other, you want to rewatch this stuff, which is super supportive, you can. And then again, I record all this stuff so it can potentially be used for future content as well. And if you sign up before, I'm thinking here what else I needed to say. If you sign up by October 1st, then you can get a free healing and reading session with me as well. So that'll start to, so like Mikkel, that would help you go deeper, or like TMA stuff with the hips. We'd start to kind of figure out what's going on there. And then that would be also where we would go deeper into the program. Okay. It's 222. For the entire program. And if you sign up, then it's 111, and that's a non-refundable deposit. So you get your spot, plus you're going to get your reading and your healing. And then the remainder is due when we begin. If you need a payment plan and you need to sort something out, that's no big deal. It'll be over between now and those 6 weeks. So there's plenty of time to sort that out. I never want money to be an issue for anybody. I'm really here to support you guys to go deeper. And it's all very interesting, Robin. Thank you so much for giving us all an hour of your valuable time. Much love, no problem. And thank you, Robin, and everyone here for sharing and just being here. Love you all. You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to answer Carla's big question, even though I said I wasn't going over time. And then we're going to go out of our records.
Okay, quickly.
Yeah.
My big question is, I find this all very fascinating, and
Yep.
how some people just seem to sail through life and don't need to know anything.
Mhm.
How is it, like, why do I need to know? Do you know what I mean?
Well, who are the people that are sailing through life in your life?
I have girlfriends. I mean, they are, oh God, how would I, you look at them and they're great people. Like, they're giving, loving, caring. They're forgiving.
Mhm.
And they don't seem to need to understand any of this.
Okay.
And yet where I see them is where I'd like to be.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, that is a very big question. And I totally get that. Like I relate to that, but I think it kind of goes back to the beginning. And I like how it all kind of goes full circle. I always know it's time to end when I'm going back to what we were saying at the beginning of being an empath. Are all of these people that you're talking about, are they all empaths?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
So they're all empaths that just go through life and nothing affects them? Is that what you mean?
No, they don't need to learn about crystals and tarot cards, and they don't have like that. They kind of chuckle at me because I want to learn about it,
Mm-hmm.
but not in a mean way.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
They just, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, they know what it's all about, but
Yeah.
they're not interested in it for themselves.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, I look at them and they're just almost wonderful, giving, loving people all the time.
And you're not?
No, I don't think I am.
Okay. So what I would suggest is if you want to go deeper with it and like explore some of this stuff, we can book a call to talk about it a bit more so I can explain it on a deeper level, just because it's the end of this class. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff in there for sure, because like I find it interesting that someone wouldn't want to learn. Like I studied psychology, right? Because I'm interested in learning about how the mind works, how people work. It fascinates me. So like to learn about theta healing, you're learning how to go into dream state to tap into the unconscious self and go deeper into understanding how to feel lighter and how to feel better and how to bring in more joy into your life. So you're learning tools to like to it's more like personal development too, and also how to again just live a more fulfilling life, as we were talking about. To go into the Akashic Records, you are finding a sense of peace and calm, where you really just aren't questioning anything. There's this inner understanding and self-awareness that comes up, right? Kind of like a meditation. And with the Reiki healing, it's such a beautiful tool if you're sick. If you are in a state of grief, I add crystals when I'm really sick. I want to use them more often, but I tend to use them as a tool when I'm in a really bad way. And the cards are simply just a way to begin to open up to symbolism, just like dream interpretation, right? Does that make sense why there are these different reasons to want to go deeper?
Oh, I understand why I want to go deeper. I don't, what I don't get is how can they, I don't know, they seem to function very well without it all.
Absolutely. And I think the big thing is that we all have a different purpose in life. And every single soul is different than another person. So I have like Jenna, Mikkel, Kinda, like we all have different things that we're attracted to. And I think it's so fascinating because like we all vibrate in a different way. We have all different likes and interests. So I think it's great that you have people in your life that have differences than you. I think it's important to have people in your life that are on the same vibrational match as you, so you're really content. But I also think it's important to have people that are like completely different from us so they can learn. So what I'm getting is some of the people that you're around, you might be a teacher for them. So as you learn stuff, you get to share stuff with them. Now, if they're not open to learning those things, then that's interesting to me if they're not interested in learning from you. But it's also, there's a balance between accepting people for the way that they are and also the people that are close-minded too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see, that's part I don't get. I'm sorry. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
build a wall. They I don't know. It's like they don't need it because they're already there.
Oh, so like all your friends are ascended, you mean? Like they're like,
Not all my friends, just my particular. I have 3 girlfriends that I've had these 3 girlfriends since I was like 8 years old,
mhm,
and I'm old,
mhm,
so you know, forever.
yeah,
And they're there. I mean,
mhm,
we've all different lives, and
yeah,
I can see, things that they have that I don't have.
yeah,
I get that,
absolutely.
but I don't know why I have this need to learn
Mhm.
about this, and they just seem to sail along without the need to learn about it.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's a difference between needing to learn something and wanting to learn something. You know what I'm saying? Like all of this stuff, like I went to school because I had an urge, like a desire, a calling, a knowing of what I felt like I was supposed to be doing. I was listening to my intuition in terms of what my path was supposed to be. I knew the difference between Robin isn't supposed to do this and Robin is supposed to do this. And that's kind of what I wanted to teach tonight, just like a touch of, is knowing what's right for you and what's not right for you. Right. And that's a key thing. And that's okay. Everybody's different, but when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing or something that you feel like you are supposed to be doing. And I think that's really important to connect to. So absolutely, if you have people that are good and they're doing well, they're content, we don't ever want to push anything on them. But it's also, I think it's good to want to continuously learn. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Needing something and wanting something, I think, are two different things. So I think, Carla, that's what I'm getting for you is yeah, like we're never going to be dependent on a crystal, right? But when we're first starting out, if you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you're an empath, all these things, hell yes, we want to work with crystals. And eventually we'll get to that point where we might move on and then we're on to something else and we feel like there's no need for crystals. So we go through stages of what we need and what we don't need. But that's just I feel like that's just part of our path. The key thing is we never want to become dependent on anything either, like feeling like I need my crystals. There's something going on there too. I find like it's like,
Yeah, maybe need wasn't the right word. Maybe
the call,
anyway, it's all right.
maybe you have a calling, an energetic calling towards certain people or things that you're interested in because you get along with those types of people, maybe.
Yeah.
That seems more like a personal call, because I think there's some like theta healing stuff that might be coming up around that, or like a card that you could pull as well to go a little bit deeper. But yeah, and the other thing is just never compare yourself to anybody else either, because again, that's where you might think that these people are all good, but like Paulette said here, never know, they might need it someday, right? And so yeah, I think that's what we're doing right now, is just we're just developing all of these little tools, as I was saying, so that when we're sick or when we're in a situation, we actually feel safer or deeper connected. Yeah, I don't know. That's just what's coming up. So I'm going to trust it. What do you mean by go out of the Akashic Record? So anytime, like, so when we go into like with Reiki healing, when we do proper Reiki healing, like tonight, I was just kind of explaining to you guys the process of just kind of calming your energy down. But when we go into Reiki healing, we do a little thing, we call in the energy, and then we do clearings, and then we go out of the Reiki healing. So we kind of like close up. Okay, so we go enter the space, we experience it, and then we go out of the space. And so with the Akashic Records, and kind of what we did with the Theta Healing, we went in and then we integrated the energy. Well, we do that with the Akashic Records. So we do a grounding experience. Then we walk into the records. We go through everything. Like everything that was said was exactly what needed to be said. Trust in that process. And then we basically put in our gratitude, which is really important for all the healing messages that came through, and for all the healing that came through as well. So with this last I now walk out of the Akashic Records, and then I take a deep breath. And then we're coming back into our space. So it's just a place that you go to experience what comes through. It's always so interesting. I love it, especially in a group setting like this. Yeah, and then we're just putting in gratitude. And often anytime we go into Reiki or do any type of healing work, for myself anyway, aside from me having my candles lit, I have my smudge, and I will often just like light my smudge. I will visualize any energy that was released, because God knows there was lots of that. And it seems like such small, subtle things, but again, some of this becomes a little more relatable later as well, as we get some time to reflect. As we were saying, as empaths, it can be a bit overwhelming when we get too much at once. So yeah, and then I smudge. Sometimes I'll do a little prayer. And if I called in any guides, spirit guides, ascended masters, angels, things like that, before I went into any type of healing, I'll often again be thankful for those spirits that came through for me too. Cool. So yeah, so I have my program coming up. If you have any additional questions, you can just book in a call and we can go deeper into that. Of course, if you would like just a healing session in general, I'd love to help you out. I use a lot of different tools. These are just a couple that I use. And also, if you want to become a member of my membership group, I have 2 Akashic Records programs in there. I have hours of content that you can also get access to. And I also have tons of Reiki training in there as well. So you're welcome. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Appreciate your time and answering questions. No problem, Carla. Obviously, there's a lot more to that. I was just connecting to whatever messages people needed to hear in the group setting. All right. So yeah, Bye for now. How much is your membership? Ciao. So the membership has 3 different levels. There's the beginner, there's pro, and there's VIP. And VIP, you're welcome, Tammy. VIP is the one that has Akashic Records. Well, VIP has everything. But the pro level has just Akashic Records. But if you want the Akashic Records and the Reiki training, along with a bunch of other stuff, that's under VIP. In order to be a beginner, it's $11.11. So you're getting like the basic level, but you still get access to any of the workshops and content in there. But if you're looking, as I was saying, to do any of these types of tools, it's pro or VIP, which is $33.33 or $55.55 for the month. All right. You can cancel at any time. And again, there's lots of support there. So if you have like all these questions that are coming up about like friends or like, why am I drawn to this specifically? Again, I'll answer those questions for you in our Facebook group. All right. So bye for now. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.